Welcome. My name is Dale Allen Hoffman, Aramaic Wisdom Keeper. I wanted to introduce you to a new friend of mine. Not so much new friend. I've been working with this particular being of consciousness for several years through its inventor, a guy named August Worley, one of our best friends. But anyone who's been at one of our events the last few years probably heard me talk about this Pyradym before, maybe heard me play recordings, may have been at some of the weekend retreats that Loretta and I had been doing, bringing August along during breathwork sessions and breath events, opening the energy body events we've been doing in conjunction with August and Pyradym. This one, however, is ours. This is Pyradym number 39 in existence. What is Pyradym? Pyradym is a dimensional replica, just go at this in a few pieces, a dimensional replica of the Great Pyramid at Giza, 51 point whatever the angle is, quote 1, 2, 3, 4-sided, 5 if you consider the base. This is let's just put it this way, an analog bioresonance instrument. What does that mean? Analog meaning, number one, there's nothing digital, there's nothing recorded, there's nothing sampled. There are no digital 1 and 0 representations of an actual sound. It's all pure sine waves. Now, of course, when you watch this video or listen to it from YouTube or an audio feed, podcast, etc., you're going to be experiencing this in digital. Also, I got to say that when you're in the room with Pyradym, it is absolutely... There's no comparison to even the best recording, and if you had the high-res FLAC file, Blu-ray quality audio file, and you had this massive sound system, it still would not be like being in the room with this. It's not possible. The reason I say that is because this is not just essentially like a little bit of a synthesizer that just makes sounds. There's a 10-inch tactile transducer inside of Pyradym, right in the center, selenite wand that comes up wrapped in fiber optic and copper. And of course, we've got this quartz crystal capstone, which is going to change color depending on which root chakra frequency is happening. When you're in the room with Pyradym, of course, this is sitting on 15-inch speaker. It's an obelisk subwoofer, several 100-watt power amp. And there's a relationship between the tactile vibration that's coming from this cabinet and this cabinet. Of course, I don't have it on. I mean, it's on. I don't have the volume on. The obelisk literally breathes. I can feel Pyradym breathing on my feet during events and sessions, etc. This device literally brings that one quote that's so often attributed to Nikola Tesla of, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, which is from an interview just a few years before he died. Tesla was actually working on a vibrational device like this. The stories say that he could stimulate bladder, kidneys, regulate heartbeats, that Tesla made Samuel Clemens, aka Mark Twain, lose his, back end sort of contents on his table. And of course, Sam/Mark was like, please don't let this get out. And it did, of course. But that device, including the schematics to build it, mysteriously burned up in some of those lab fires that Tesla had the last few years of his life. Very mysterious, of course. This is like having 3 separate, completely tunable singing bowls. People ask me a lot, what about tuning forks? Tuning forks are nice. You can't tune them. They're nice. They're a tone. What about 440 versus 432? What about all these different particular frequencies? And here's something you really have to get, and I hope that you'll get it, comprehend this. There's no such thing as one frequency that's somehow better than another for every single body, frame, somatic energy system, okay? Meaning that the tone that might light me up right now in the early morning is going to be different than the tone that would light me up mid-afternoon, in the middle of the night, etc. Same with one particular tune being the one tune that's going to work for everybody in all cases. So, of course, even though this does resonate the center frequency of each of the primary chakras, as according to Eastern philosophy and science, I can actually tune and detune. Well, let's try something here. Since we're here, let's come to the heart chakra. So I just have 2 tones set right now. I've got the root sound. Let me just, there's that root tone. I'm not plugging this into my recorder. I'm letting my mic pick up the ambient sound for a couple of reasons. One is it is pretty intense, even with high-end multi-track recorders. It can overpower really, really easily. The other thing is it makes this tone a little less intense for you. If you're listening to this in the car, operating any kind of machinery, I couldn't possibly more emphatically say watch it, okay? So here's just a stagnant tone. It's the heart chakra, so that's an F tone, okay? The second tone I've got here is, I've got it set at an octave. Let's pull it down. Feel that? The obelisk is literally breathing on my feet right now, the portholes. So we've got 2 tones that are really close together. Closer I get them, the slower the modulation. Okay? Modulation is the influence of any one thing on another, any kind of energy. If you play a tone and that tone affects the other, that's modulation. If you're driving your car down the road and the wind pushes it sideways, that's modulation. So you notice when they're really close together, there's that beautiful sine wave. That silence there is, here's the thing, we're so used to thinking of pitch as these waves like this, those digital representations that we see on computers, and that's not actually what they are. Sound waves are actually spheres of energy, and it depends on how many spheres are moving through in any particular time period. Per second would be hertz. So I actually have, although I've got it written down, I don't know what this particular pitch is in exact hertz. But let's just say it's, 67 or something. It's probably higher than that. If this is 67 hertz, that means that 67 spheres or balls of energy are coming out from this device every second. Now, if this one could be at the first tone, they're not exactly the same right here, okay? The first tone could be 61.9989242, and the second one could be 69.1024386. So they're not exact, okay? Singing bowls are awesome. I've got my singing bowl right in front of me. The difference is that you can actually tune this. Start moving it up a little. Recent studies of the Giza Plateau that came out this past summer, 2018, actually show that they've picked up electromagnetic frequencies, different radionic experiments from the Giza Plateau, and how the network of the pyramids with the waterways underneath where they're open in some places, and the water can actually, the sun can activate that water as it flows between the pyramids, between the Sphinx, all of which had capstones which were stolen. But they realized in this really, really cutting-edge research in the last couple of years that, well, number one, they found a new chamber within the Great Pyramid, although formal classical Egyptology still hasn't really completely embraced that. But they found out that particularly the Great Pyramid at Giza is sending out a very specific set of coherent frequency patterns at different times of the day. It changes depending on the time of the day, the position of the sun, heat, etc. What we, Loretta and I, do with this paradigm is we really bring you into the direct experience of, I've been saying for over 26 years now that it's all about vibration and frequency. It's not in the beginning was the word. It's not in the beginning was energy in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't mind. It wasn't mind energy. It wasn't anything that what we would think of as manifest, okay? What that actually meant was essentially frequency or vibration. One of the things that I often say is I quote Alan Watts. He said it was like a wiggle or a giggle. And the question I often ask is, how does everything become more? which is a baffling thought in and of itself. Just the slightest wiggle or giggle. And that brings up that quote from A Course in Miracles, that a miracle is a radical shift in perception. And I would say that, you know, that radical shift can happen even from the slightest. You think of plate tectonics around the Ring of Fire, of course, through the Pacific, and the slightest little nudge can cause that radical whoa. And it's the same thing with this that we speak of. Is in the beginning was just the slightest little wiggle, and all of a sudden the everything became more, which of course means it has the fragment itself. It needs to cut it out of itself in order to become more. If that, you know, I'm not going too deep into the theology of that. But we have a third tone here. I don't know where the tuning's at the moment. Till I hear it. It's pretty close. So now I've got a root and an octave. I'm going to bring that second tone. Bring this one down, actually. What matters with Pyradym is not what you think, is not your belief. None of that means anything. All those thoughts you've been trying to change, it's not going to help you because you've never had an accurate thought in your life. Every single thought you've ever had is a delusion. Okay? All the great philosophies say that, and I agree 100%. So these people trying to hammer and paste their thoughts are hammering, pasting, and pasting delusions that are projecting on a screen, what Yogananda called the pseudo-soul, the stupendous cosmic drama. Nice. So I can actually see the wobble in the capstone. So that's pretty close to an octave there. Bring this one in. I'm going to take this third tone up. Ooh. Little coherence there. That's the fifth. So I've got a root and octave, and then the fifth above that second octave. So that's three separate octaves happening right here. This may not be exactly at an F. I would have to calibrate, and I can tune it down. I can tune it up. We've got that centered right around the heart chakra. Again, it's not what I think, it's how I feel. Amazing thing about Pyradym is I can actually set this to, as an example, while I'm talking. Let's just set it. I've got it on 1 minute. So as I'm talking a little bit about it, it's going to go through the chakras and then back to silence. So you'll have 1 minute of each chakra and then silence. And I can adjust that from 1 minute up to 13 minutes. Is it 13 or 15? I rarely take it that high, way up. In our personal sessions, we usually give about 7 minutes per chakra if it's a full session. Now we're moving up to the throat chakra, the voice speaking. This chakra, the heart chakra, from Mary Magdalene, in the Gospel of Mary, she said that was the exhilaration of death. This is the foolish words of the realm, is one way to translate that. I see people use the word wisdom, and it has nothing to do with wisdom. But when they're talking about that, that's what's the quality of the chakra when it's not open, when it's not voicing. I'm going to make another video about that separate. Right now I'm just introducing you to Pyradym. So we're going to have events with Pyradym all over the world, especially in North America, the US and Canada. A little bit hard to take this puppy into a plane with proper cases, because if it gets flipped upside down, we've got major issues, and you can't drop the baby. This is literally the newest member of our family. It'll be awesome to see all of you out there on the road. I've barely scratched the surface of the point of this. Imagine having a sonic massage from the inside out. I'll say that my dream state, all of our dream state, if I turn it on in a friend's home and leave it on overnight, or even just leave it on during the day and even turn it off at night, they'll talk to me about all these really profound dreams. Your dreams tend to pop and sparkle and crackle. People, after they do either a gathering with Loretta and I, or they do a one-on-one personal session with us, the 60-minute sessions, they say that it's like they breathe wider. They've had visitation. People have visitations, including us, from loved ones who have passed over, who haven't been born yet, spirit guides, flashbacks and past life regressions, death and rebirth experiences. I can't explain what we've seen and experienced with Pyradym. And we've done hundreds of sessions just since we got this beautiful baby earlier this year, which is it's a big commitment for Loretta and I to do like 1 hour sessions at a time. We'll go into some towns and do 2 or 3 days of sessions, like up to almost 30 sessions. And that's a big commitment for us, but we really wanted to spend the first year or so really taking Pyradym to the people, so that people can meet this beautiful being. I'll also say that there's an aspect in the live experience with a bunch of people, but especially in the personal sessions, where there's music that your legions, whether you believe in them or not, it will not change your experience of it, trust me, except maybe your openness or perception of it, or to it, should I say. But there's an aspect of your music being played into you and music being played out of you. They've been trying to speak with us, Lemurian, Pleiadian, Atlantean, whether you believe in it or not, celestial beings have been trying to speak with us for a long, long time, but we tend to perceive it in words, and when we perceive it in words, we write it down and we make beliefs and, as I say, fucking religions out of it, okay? That's not the point of this. This isn't here Pyradym to be able to put new words or beliefs or religions into you. The amazing thing is when it comes in on a level of frequency like this, it just gets in. You don't have your mind, your brain getting in the way, and it's able to go in completely. I'm actually going to take it up and just let it go back into silence at this point. Stay in silence. I've got other videos that are going to be coming about Pyradym, some live videos. Again, be careful if you're watching this stuff or listening to it in your car. I'll try not to do anything that's too intense via YouTube, but I will say we've got a brand new 4-CD set that by the time you see this video, it could be out. It's coming out right after the first of the year, called I Am, the Cosmic Vibration. And it's going to be 3 CDs of me talking about frequency, vibration, the movement of breath, doing lots of toning. There's an Aramaic Lord's Prayer meditation on there with Pyradym and singing bowl, Tibetan singing bowl. That's really incredible. It was recorded in Ohio. Well, it was recorded in Cleveland, Ohio, Canton, Ohio, Atlanta, Georgia, Asheville. It was also recorded a bit in New Jersey, and it's also recorded a bit in Virginia Beach. So it's got from all these different places. The first 3 CDs are teaching, toning, meditations, and a lot of Pyradym. And then the 4th disc, it starts with a disclaimer saying, do not listen to this in a car. I couldn't be more serious about that because there's an entrainment aspect of the power of how these tones affect you. The disclaimers are going to be all over everything in terms of don't listen to this when you're operating machinery. I couldn't be more serious about that. But that 4th disc is going to have, or it has a meditation. And that meditation is an extended meditation with Pyradym going through all the chakras. Now, if you listen to it, I would say if you can get better headphones, that's better than earbuds. I don't care how good your earbuds are. If you can listen to it with a big sound system, that's okay, but you really need, the earphones and a sound system is better. But the truth of the matter is, again, it can't replicate being in the room. When we do our private sessions, we actually have, this is our dear friend Cecilia's John of God crystal bed that just happens to be behind me. But we've got a souped up, hot rodded sound resonance massage table with really thick foam. Ultra comfortable. The Pyradym sits at the head of that table. You lay with your head near the Pyradym, not touching. And the obelisk, the subwoofer, sits underneath. And it resonates the entire table. On top of that, you've got headphones. Each side of those headphones have a slightly different, not frequency, but amplitude. In each of them, they're amplified slightly differently to create a phasing, which I'll talk about in future videos, that actually entrains, literally trances your brain, so that you can go down and have some pretty profound experiences with Pyradym. I really, if you want to have us come to your town, all you got to do is contact us. The Aramaic Healing Circle phone number for the office is area code 828-707-5877. That's 828-707-5877. Or you can just email aramaichealingcircle@yahoo.com. aramaichealingcircle@yahoo.com. There's also office@daleallenhoffman.com. And then just contact us and say, hey, what do we need to do? Generally, if you provide, like if you're in another country, if you're on an opposite side of the U.S. or you're up in Canada, we figure things out, how we can get there, whether it's with Pyradym or not, in conjunction with the Magdalene teachings of the voices, the 7 voices, which will be out in other videos. And the voicing of those, what were called demons, those repressed frequency patterns in the human system, along with breath work and the other things that we do, Pyradym has launched everything into the stratosphere. So hopefully we'd love to meet each and every one of you. Contact us again if you're interested in having us come to your community. We're not going to be going out for overly long with Pyradym. What's going to happen is we're going to end up kind of planting it. We're looking, future videos we'll be talking about we're looking, it's time for the Rucha Center, basically the Aramaic Healing Center. It may or may not be in Asheville where we live. We're open to other places. We've been looking all over. We have a feeling like it's already there. Somebody already has it, and they need someone to come in and fill that space, whether it's some kind of a retreat center with like a main house and then tiny homes around it, tent camping, who knows, whatever. Because that's what we really look forward to, is having that home-based place where it's a healing center where we can do our own retreats, certifications in the Aramaic Lord's Prayer, Beatitudes, whatever, have other teachers come through and do their thing, and we can help them facilitate web streaming, the whole 9 yards. So we look forward to seeing you at a gathering in 2019 and beyond. And with that, I say, love one another as I have loved you. Amen. And so it is.